Good afternoon. I'm your host, Andy Sullivan, and this is Blendertainment for September 9th. I'm going to start off with one that I'm sure you already know, because unless you're living under a rock, you know that the NFL season began Thursday night with the Chiefs rather, starting out 1-0, beating the Bills 27-20. The Baltimore Ravens, it's funny, the Ravens won time of possession, but and more first downs and the rushing, but all that stuff really doesn't mean that you're going to win the game. What I found rather off-putting was right out of the gate, Derrick Henry, who the Titans foolishly traded to the Ravens, scored the first touchdown for the Ravens. So I thought, well, that's probably going to be a symbol of how the Titans season is going to go, because, and especially after a few days later, when yesterday the Titans lost as per usual. I wasn't surprised that they lost, but anyway, I digress. I guess Taylor Swift being at the Kansas City game brought him luck. That's what some people are actually saying online. I think the fact that they're pretty good at football might have a little bit something to do with it. A little bit more important than the Taylor Swift effect. That's just me. That's just what I'm thinking. Anyway, so and of course, after the first game, people are already wondering. Well, actually, before the first game, people are like, "Well, can Kansas City be the first team to three-peat?" And then somebody said, "Well, who's going to beat them?" That's a good question, especially since Mahomes beat the passing record, the most passing yards in franchise history during the game. And this is just during the first game of the season. So God knows what he's going to do for the rest of the year. And speaking of for the rest of the year, well, I guess I better go ahead and get into this. The Tennessee Titans, as soon as this comes up, of course, I knew this was going to happen because they went undefeated in preseason. Usually, and yes, I am of the ones who say we when talking about the sports team that I'm a fan of. So let's get that out of the way. Anyway, it's not that we lost 24-17. No, that's not bad enough. It's bad enough that we lost 24-17 to the Bears. But the fact that we had a 17-0 lead, yeah, that's right. A 17-0 lead, and we lost 24-17. That's pathetic. I mean, that is Kentucky football bad. As far as the things that stood out from the game. Will Levis miscues. You can't do what he did. I mean, you can't just keep. Titans quarterback Will Levis beat himself up after his 3-turnover game. Levis was intercepted twice, including one that was a return for a touchdown, and also lost a fumble after getting sacked. Levis was critical of himself, calling his pick six the result of a bonehead play, agreed, and one of the many things he can learn from in the game. It's tough, Levis said. I can't remember a loss in my career when I feel like I blatantly handed it over to them, and I have to deal with that. Levis finished the contest with 19-32 for 127 yards and a touchdown with 2 picks and a passer rating of 52.5. The Titans played well enough on defense to win it. The Bears managed just 11 first downs and 148 yards of offense in the contest. Titans held the Bears when they got the ball on short field, and they forced a number of 3-and-outs. Bears quarterback Caleb Williams was just 14 of 29 for 93 yards, and he was under pressure. About the only thing the Titans didn't do well on defense was cause turnovers like the Bears did. It's frustrating to lose, but I am motivated, defensive lineman Jeffrey Simmons says. The way we played on defense is what we expected. Our message was to make them earn their stripes, and they did. They scored a total of 11 points, 3 field goals, and 2 extra points. We played lights out on defense and did a hell of a job. It's something we can build off of. There was some good and bad on special teams. Kicker Nick Folk made his only field goal attempt, and punter Ryan Stonehouse managed 53.6 yards per punt. Running back Julius Chestnut recovered a fumble on special teams when the Bears muffed the kick. There was a costly turn in the game when the Titans gave up a blocked punt that was returned for a Bears touchdown. When you give up a blocked punt in the game for a touchdown, I don't know what the stats exactly are, but it certainly puts you in a tough spot to win the game and give you a special teams touchdown, Coach Brian Callahan said. It wasn't a crazy rush. It wasn't schematic. We just got beat. We just pushed back. I'm disappointed. We got pushed back. I'm disappointed we gave that up in that spot. Titans couldn't keep drives alive because they couldn't convert third downs. Titans finished 3 of 14 on the third down for 21.4%. Part of the problem is the team picked up penalties and negative plays on offense, which put them in long down and distance situations. We couldn't get any rhythm going, Callahan said. Every time I looked up, I felt like it was second and 9 or 3rd and 8 or 3rd and 10. There was no rhythm on offense at all. I couldn't get any rhythm calling plays because of the spots we were in. It was a struggle in the second half in that regard. We couldn't get into manageable down and distance, and when we did, couldn't do anything with it. As for the next game, let's see. The next game is week 2, New York Jets. Now, it's a short week for the Jets because tonight they have Monday Night Football. Now, our game with the Jets will be... The Titans game with the Jets will be on CBS at noon. Now, hopefully, since it's CBS, this game will be on Paramount Plus. Now, I tweeted, is it still called tweeted? Because since it's X instead of Twitter, I still call it that. I still call it Twitter. I still call it tweeted. I tweeted WBKO Fox. That's where the week 1 game was. And our WBKO Fox is not in HD. So I tweeted them about an alternative, and they gave me the WBKO Fox. My thought was, well, I already knew that. So what was the point of asking you that? So we'll see how the Titans do against the Jets next week. I'm praying to God that they do better than they did Sunday. Now, as far as Kentucky, I'm trying to put this in a way that is not just out and out cuss worthy. Kentucky got whipped. There we go. Kentucky got whipped Saturday by now 2-0 South Carolina, dropping Kentucky to 1-1. South Carolina won 31-6. Brock Vandergolf passing for Kentucky, 3 completion, 10 yards, 30 yards, or 10 attempts, 30 yards, and 0 touchdowns. It just, it was ugly. It was, well, I'll go one step further. It was fugly. There you go. It was fugly. And the next game, let's see, the next game, September 14th, oh my God. Number 1 Georgia. Yeah, okay. Looks like we're going to be starting at 0-3. And then we have Ohio. Number 5, Ole Miss. This just keeps looking uglier, y'all. I guess Big Blue Nation probably would be calling me a pessimist if they watch this, but sure looks like we're going to be, well, we're for sure going to be starting at 0-3. I thought maybe we would win the first week. Thought maybe we can even win this past Saturday. I know we're not going to beat Georgia. I knew that we weren't beating Georgia, and I still know that we're not beating Georgia. Now, let's move away from the disappointing football and go to wrestling. This Friday night marks SmackDown's return to the USA Network. A little history here. WWE SmackDown moved to Fox October 4th, 2019. Marked the show's return to Friday night. As far as when SmackDown debuted on UPN. Remember that network? United Paramount Network? We're talking way before Paramount Plus. Way before. This was April 29th, 1999 was when SmackDown debuted on UPN. It debuted, period. I mean, there was only Raw from 1993 until 1999. After the merger of UPN and WB, the show began airing on CW September of 2006. The show was moved to My Network TV on October of 2008. And then it was moved to Sci-Fi Network October 1st of 2010. It was moved to the USA Network January 7th, 2016. September 13th, 2024 will mark SmackDown's return to the USA Network. And it is not lost on me that it will be Friday the 13th. So, and there was some big stuff I'm sure planned for there's some big stuff I'm sure planned for the premiere anyway. There's the WWE Championship cage match between Cody Rhodes and Solo Sikoa, because every fan wanted to see Solo Sikoa get another title match. But it's needed because Roman Reigns will return. And Roman Reigns is going to once again cost Solo Sikoa the WWE title. That is my opinion, of course. Back to football. Actually, no, I already talked about okay, I already talked about that. So we're going to go to my Twitter DMs, where I have emailed myself some stuff to talk about. Excuse me, though, while I'll take a... You're supposed to do that off screen anyway. I don't know. Okay, so this this was interesting. Beyonce received 0 nominations at this year's Country Music Awards. Now, I'm not gonna get all racist on y'all. It's just something that I found interesting. Morgan Wallen leads the 2024 CMA nominations list. Morgan Wallen is the leading nominee for the 2024 CMA Awards, as determined by eligible voting members of the Country Music Association. He received 7 nods. Cody Johnson and Chris Stapleton follow with 5 nods each, while Post Malone and Lainey Wilson, if I can get rid of these stupid pop-ups, while Post Malone and Lainey Wilson each nabbed 4. Louis Bell, Luke Combs, Charlie Handsome, Hoskins, Jelly Roll, Megan Maroney, and Casey Musgraves each secured 3 nominations. I'm not gonna lie, I don't know Charlie Handsome Hoskins, or Charlie Hanson. Sounds like an independent wrestler. I'm just saying. Wallen hasn't won a CMA since he was crowned New Artist of the Year 4 years ago. Less than 3 months after that breakthrough moment, he was caught on video using a racial slur, an incident that almost certainly cost him some major awards. and an incident that I thought might end his career. I know a lot of people still love him, so cool. Stapleton received his 8th nod for Entertainer of the Year, an award he has yet to win. He has amassed more nods without a win in that category than any other artist in CMA history. Also nominated are Combs, his 5th nod in the category, Wallen, his 3rd, Wilson, her 2nd, and Jelly Roll, his 1st. As hot as Jelly Roll is, could he win? Could he be a dark horse and win the Entertainer of the Year? Can you really call Jelly Roll, who has had a huge last few years, could you call him a dark horse, really, though? The eligibility period for the 2024 CMA Awards was July 1st, 2023 to June 30th, 2024. That means such high-profile albums as Zach Bryan's The Great American Bar Scene, Wilson's Whirlwind, and Post Malone's F1 Trillion won't be eligible until next year. All 5 albums for Album of the Year reached the top of Billboard's Top Country Albums charts. The biggest surprise among them is Jelly Roll's Witches Chapel, which was released on June 2nd, 2023, nearly a month before the close of last year's eligibility period. CMA explains it's eligible because the majority of consumption occurred in the current eligibility period, a rule that was introduced last year and now in its 2nd year. Starting Over is Stapleton's 5th consecutive studio album to be nominated for Album of the Year. His entire solo discography to date. Fathers and Sons is Combs' 4th consecutive album to receive nomination in that category. Beyonce is conspicuous by her absence on the ballot. CMA voters seem to agree with the superstar's statement on Instagram back in March, in which she confirmed the imminent release of Cowboy Carter. This ain't a country album, this is a Beyonce album. In that same Instagram post, Beyonce said this album has been over 5 years in the making. It was born out of an experience that I had years ago. I did not feel welcome. It was very clear that I wasn't. That comment was widely seen as a reference to Beyonce's appearance with the Chicks, then the Dixie Chicks, at the CMA Awards in November 2016, where they performed Daddy Lessons, a song from Beyonce's Lemonade album. Both of the top 2 songs of the summer on Billboard's recently published all-genre seasonal recap, I Had Some Help by Post Malone featuring Wallen and Shaboozey's A Bar Song, Tipsy, are nominated for Single of the Year. The number 2 song of the summer of 2023, Luke Combs' Fast Car, won the CMA Award for Single of the Year last year. And by the way, don't know if you guys picked up on this, but Shaboozey's Bar Song is kind of a rip-off of Chingy's Everybody in the Club Getting Tipsy. I don't know if anybody picked up on that or if anybody cares, but it is. I Had Some Help and Johnson's Dirt Cheap are each nominated for Single Song and Music Video of the Year. Stapleton's White Horse is nominated for the first 2 of those awards, but it wasn't nominated for Music Video of the Year. Nominees for New Artist of the Year are Meg Maroney, Shaboozey, Nate Smith, Mitchell Tenpenny, Zach Top, and Bailey Zimmerman. Maroney was also nominated in the category last year. Zimmerman was nominated 2 years ago. CMA rules allow artists to be nominated in this category twice. Shaboozey is the 5th black artist to be nominated in the category, or the Horizon Award, as the award was known from its inception in 1981 through 2007. Music legend Ray Charles was nominated in 1985 when he made a country market breakthrough, followed by Darius Rucker in 2009. and Jimmy Allen and Mickey Guyton, both in 2021. Rucker and Allen both won. Miranda Lambert failed to receive a nod for Female Vocalist of the Year, breaking a 17-year streak of nominations in that category. Carly Pearce broke a 3-year string of nods in that category. Midland wasn't nominated for Vocal Group of the Year, breaking a 6-year streak. The Red Clay Strays took that spot. Carrie Underwood wasn't nominated for Entertainer of the Year, breaking a 5-year streak of nods in that category. Jelly Roll took that spot. Musgraves got her CMA mojo back. She's up for Female Vocalist for the first time in 5 years. She's also up for Album of the Year after failing to get a nod in that category for her previous album, Star-Crossed. The nominations in 2 key categories, Male Vocalist of the Year and Vocal Duo of the Year, were exactly the same as last year. Now, for the nominees. Entertainer of the Year, that's right, I'll start from everybody else starts from the bottom and goes up. I'm going to start from the top and go down. Entertainer of the Year, Luke Combs, Jelly Roll, who, by the way, did a kick-ass performance at SummerSlam this year. Don't know if you guys caught that. Chris Stapleton, Morgan Wallen, and Lainey Wilson. That one is a toss-up. I'm going to say right now it's going between Stapleton and Wilson. I'll give more of a in-depth closer to time. Single of the Year. The award goes to artists, producers, and mix engineers. A bar song, Tipsy by Shabuzi. Producers Sean Cook, Nevin Sastry, and mix engineer Raul Lopez. Dirt Cheap by Cody Johnson. Producer Trent Wilmon. Mix engineer Jack Clark. And I had some help. Post Malone featuring Morgan Wallen. Producers Louis Bell, Charlie Hanson, Hoskins, and mix engineer Ryan Gore. Watermelon Moonshine, Lady Wilson. Producer Jay Joyce. Mix engineers Jason Hall and Jay Joyce. White Horse, Chris Stapleton. Producers Dave Cobb, Chris Stapleton, Morgan Stapleton. Engineer Vance Powell. Album of the Year. This goes to artists, producers, and mix engineers. Deeper Well, Casey Musgraves. Producer Ian Fitchick. Casey Musgraves, Daniel Tashian, and mix engineers Sean Everett and Conrad Snyder. Fathers and Sons, Luke Combs. Producer Luke Combs, Chip Matthews, Jonathan Singleton, and mix engineer Chip Matthews. Higher, Chris Stapleton. Producer Dave Cobb, Chris Stapleton, Morgan Stapleton. Mix engineer Vance Powell. Leather by Cody Johnson. Producer Trent Wilmon, and mix engineer Jack Clark. Witsit Chapel, Jelly Roll. Producers Andrew Bayless, Brock Berryhill, Zach Crowell, Jesse Frazier, David Garcia, Kevin Thrasher Gruft, Austin Niverell, David Ray Stevens. Mix engineers Jeff Braun and Jim Cooley. Song of the Year. This goes to the songwriters. Burn It Down. Songwriters Hillary Lindsay, Parker McCollum, Lori McKenna, and Liz Rose. Dirt Cheap. Songwriter Josh Phillips. I Had Some Help. Songwriters Louis Bell, Ashley Gorley, Charlie Hanson, Hoskins. Austin featuring Ernest, Keith Smith, Morgan Wallen, and Chandler Paul Waters. The Painter. Songwriters Benji Davis, Kat Higgins, and Ryan Larkins. White Horse, songwriters Chris Stapleton and Dan Wilson. Now, female vocalist of the year, Kelsey Ballerini, Ashley McBride, Megan Moroney, Casey Musgraves, and Lainey Wilson. Well, obviously that's going to go to Lainey Wilson, right? Male vocalist, Luke Combs, Jelly Roll, Cody Johnson, Chris Stapleton, and Morgan Wallen. I'll have to think on that one. Vocal group of the year, Lady A, Little Big Town, Old Dominion, Red Clay Strays, and Zach Brown Band. Again, I'll have to think on that one. Vocal duo, Brooks and Dunn, Brothers Osborne, Dan and Shay, Maddie and Tay, and the Warren Treaty. It'd be cool if Brothers Osborne won that. Probably because I just saw them at Skypack in Bowling Green at the beginning of the month. Or middle of the month, rather, excuse me. Musical event of the year, Cowboys Cry 2, Kelsey Ballerini with Noah Kahn, producers Kelsey Ballerini and Alyssa Vanderheim. I Had Some Help, Post Malone featuring Morgan Wallen. I Remember Everything, Zach Brown featuring Casey Musgraves, producer Zach Bryan. I said Zach Brown, excuse me. Man Made a Bar, Morgan Wallen featuring Eric Church, producer Joy Moi. And You Look Like You Love Me, which is probably going to win because it is internet darling right now. Ella Langley featuring Riley Green, producer Will Bundy. Musician of the Year, guitarist Tony Bukovac, fiddle player Janae Fleener, steel guitarist Paul Franklin, guitarist Rob McNeely, and guitarist Charlie Worsham. Music video of the year, or goes to artists and directors. Dirt Cheap, Cody Johnson, director Dustin Haney. I Had Some Help, Post Malone featuring Morgan Wallen, director Chris Villa. I'm Not Pretty, Megan Moroney, directors Jeff Johnson, Megan Moroney. The Painter, Cody Johnson, director Dustin Haney. Wildflowers and Wild Horses, Lainey Wilson, director Patrick Tracy. That's probably going to win. New Artist of the Year, Megan Moroney, Shabuzi, Nate Smith, Mitchell Tenpenny, Zach Top, and Bailey Zimmerman. I'm going to say Megan Moroney because she's been surprisingly hot this year. And I'm not talking about outward appearance. She's been on everything from GMA to... Well, she was on tour with Kenny Chesney. I mean, that just solidifies you right there. Well, if you're Kelsey Ballerini, it solidifies you for a while, and then you get knocked back down. Because, 2024 CMA Broadcast Awards, Broadcast Personality of the Week of the Year, American Country Countdown, Kix Brooks, Country Go with Terry Clark. Terry Clark has a countdown show? I had no idea. I had no idea. Crooked and Chase Countdown. Jim Owens Productions. Lorianne Crook and Charlie Chase. Highway Hot 30 with Buzz Brainerd on Sirius XM. Honky Tonkin' with Tracy Lawrence. Tracy Lawrence and Patrick Thomas on Silverfish Media. Daily Nationals. The Bobby Bones Show. Bobby Bones, Amy Brown, Lunchbox, Dan Chappelle. That's probably Chappell. Chappelle is Dave Chappelle with an E. This is Chappell. Eddie Garcia. Morgan Holzman. Michael J. On Air by Michael J. Stuhler, iHeartMedia. Pickle Jar Up All Night with Patrick Thomas. Okay, that's funny. I had not heard of that. Patrick Thomas, Pickle Jar on Cumulus Media. Steve Harmon Show. Steve Harmon, Westwood One / Cumulus Media. Major Market, the Andy Summers Show. Andy Summers, Jeff Kirkhagen, Donnie Black, and Shannon Boyle. WXTU, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Chris Carr and Company. Chris Carr, Kia Bach, and Sam Sensavere. Keey in Minneapolis, St. Paul. Frito and Katie. Tucker Frito Young and Katie Dempsey in KCYY, San Antonio, Texas. The Morning Show, the Morning Wolf Pack with Matt McAllister. Matt McAllister, Gabe Mercer, and Captain Ron Coons, KKWF, Seattle, Washington. And the Most Fun Afternoon with Scotty K, WSN, Chicago, Illinois. Large Market. Let's see. Dale Carter Morning Show, Kansas City, Missouri. Heather Froglier, San Bernardino, California. Jesse and Anna, Jesse Tack and Anna Marie, WB, Cincinnati, Ohio. On Air with Anthony Donatelli from San Bernardino, California. Let's see. Right now, I'm just going through. I have not heard of any of these stations that are up for awards. But yeah, that's the CMA Awards. And right now, we're going to give you, or there's nobody here but me. I'm going to give you the all out results. And good Lord, was it a crazy show. On 0 Hour, the acclaimed Anthony Bowens and Max Caster with Daddy Ass versus the Iron Savages, Boulder and Bronson with Jacked Jameson. Yes, those are their names. Bowens blasted Bronson with the acclaimed, and then Caster hit the mic drop to get the pinfall. These guys, they had a tag team title shot against the Young Bucks. Or, excuse me, they're not calling themselves the Young Bucks now. Now that they're doing this EVP angle, they are still the Young Bucks. Matthew and Nicholas Jackson. Pardon me, would you have any Grey Poupon? You young kids going to have to look that one up. There was a commercial in the 80s. Yeah, you're just going to have to look that up. It was funny. People were saying, pardon me, would you have any Grey Poupon for years. It was hilarious. The premier athletes, Josh Woods, Tony Nese, and Davari versus Hologram and the ROH Tag Team Champions in the Natural Dustin Rhodes and the Spanish God Sammy Guevara. Dustin finished off Woods with the final reckoning and picked up the W. Trios match, the Bang Bang Gang versus the Dark Order. Bang Bang Gang pulled out the victory. The Undisputed Kingdom let's see, See, I'm on AEW's website, and I don't like the way they do things because other sites like Bleacher Report, CageMatch.com, stuff like that gives the results. They give you the result in huge black letters at the bottom of the summation. But these fools don't do that. Talking about AllEliteWrestling.com. MJF versus Daniel Garcia kicked off the main card. If anybody thought that MJF, or excuse me, if anybody thought that Garcia was going to win this match, no. MJF was not going to eat the pin, was not going to take an L against Daniel Garcia. I wish he would have, but, you know, as a matter of fact, how long has it been since MJF put somebody over? It's been a minute, right? But nobody talks about that because he's still in his 20s. If you're in your 30s and 40s and you're not beating, and if you're not putting people over, that's where the trouble starts. So if MJF is not putting people over in 10 years, well, see what goes down. The Young Bucks versus Blackpool Combat Club's Claudio Castagnoli and Wheeler Yuta. Young Bucks won the match, but there is a whole lot more shocking things to talk about pertaining to the BCC that I'll get to later. International Championship, the aerial assassin Will Ospreay versus the Bastard Pac. This match was incredible. So much so that Ricochet was seen backstage scouting the match. Fans chanting, "This is awesome, this is awesome," and it was. Fans chanting AEW, AEW. I can confirm they were indeed watching AEW. I don't know if that was in doubt or not, but they were. Pac devastated Ospreay with one of many Poison Ranas. Pac put Will in the brutalizer multiple times. Ospreay escaped and nailed Pac with a hidden blade for a near fall. Pac attempted an avalanche Poison Rana, but Will landed on his feet. Will went for another hidden blade. Pac kicked out at 2. Shivani with the "We'll never forget this match as long as we live." It was an insane match. It was a great match. Will we remember it for as long as we live? I don't know. Maybe so. Maybe some will. I don't know. Ospreay connected with the Oscutter. Ospreay planted Pac with the Styles Clash, followed up with the Hidden Blade, and finally managed to pin Pac. Ospreay and Pac did definitely put on a classic, I'll tell you that. The Chicago Street Fight was next with Statlander. Well, it was a war, guys. Statlander spiked Willow with a Tombstone Piledriver. Statlander wrapped a chain around the face and throat of Willow Nightingale, and Willow submitted. Now, this was after, like I said, it was a war, so it was after a lot of crazy stuff. But the craziness would only get crazier. Renee Paquette interviewed Will Ospreay backstage. Will had a harsh words for Ricochet. Ricochet interrupted Will and told Will, "Don't worry about me. I'll see you soon." So, Ricochet and Ospreay coming up. I'm in for that. The AEW Continental Championship match. The Rainmaker Kazuchika Okada defending against freshly squeezed Orange Cassidy, the Alpha Konosuke Takeshita, and ROH World Champion Mark Briscoe. This match, Okada retained. I knew Okada was going to retain, and Cassidy ate the pin. No shock there. TBS Championship match. This is another no shock. The CEO, Mercedes Moné versus Hikaru Shida. Yeah, like Mercedes Moné was going to lose, especially to Hikaru Shida. Camille was banned from ringside. Didn't matter. This was one of those. I don't want to say it was a bathroom break match, but you knew what was going to happen. The AEW World Championship. The American Dragon Bryan Danielson versus TNT Champion Scapegoat. Let me try that again. The American Dragon Bryan Danielson defending against TNT Champion, the Scapegoat, Jack Perry. That's better. This is where it got interesting. So interesting that, let me take a drink. Jim Ross joined the broadcast booth for the first of his two huge main events. Perry used an arm drag on Danielson. The champ marched forward, and Perry retreated from the ring. Danielson grabbed Perry and suplexed him. Danielson swept Perry's leg and put Perry in the flying surfboard submission hold. Danielson cracked Perry in the ears with forearms. You know what? I'm not going to read this whole thing because that's just going to bore you guys to death. It was definitely a back and forth battle. Perry planted Danielson with a snack dragon suplex in a second, right out of Kenny Omega's playbook. Just remember that little piece for later. I mean, like way later. If Kenny Omega ever returns, I'm thinking, even though he was quote unquote fired from the Elite, I'm thinking he joins back up with them. He left as a fan favorite. We all remember how he left, but I digress. Tony Schiavone, I don't care for what Jack Perry has become, but you've got to admit he's wrestling a hell of a match. Yes, he did. The referee, and here we go with the referee spot. Referee was knocked down. Perry pulled the referee into Danielson's path, and the ref fell to the mat. Now remember that. Perry pulled the ref. So Claudio Castagnoli and Wheeler Yuta sprinted to the ring and chased off the Young Bucks. Perry got the ref back to his feet. Perry drilled Danielson with a knee to the side of the head, but Danielson kicked out at 2. Danielson swarmed Perry with palm strikes, rolling elbow strike. Danielson landed the Bisaka knee, but Perry kicked out at 2. You only get one chance to become champion. He's going to make the most of it. He only gets one chance to become champion. So wait a minute. Are they going back to the no rematch thing? Or anyway. Brian grabbed Perry's wrist and began to stomp his head. Danielson defiantly sits up and does what I conceived to be the Bray Wyatt pose with arms stretched out. Just kind of like, bring it. Danielson took advantage of the opportunity and used the Bisako knee to finish off Perry and earn the victory. Now, here's where it gets, well, I would say fun. Here's where it gets interesting. After the match, Christian Cage and the Patriarchy comes down to the ring. Of course, Christian Cage has AEW's equivalent to Money in the Bank, where he can cash in whenever he wants. Jon Moxley and the Blackpool Combat Club and PAC walked to the ring through the crowd. The BCC stood between the Patriarchy and Danielson. Patriarchy didn't like the odds and walked away, with the discretion being the better part of valor. Moxley got into the ring to embrace Danielson. Jon Moxley and the rest of BCC shockingly turned on Danielson. PAC held Wheeler Yuta back as Yuta screamed in disbelief. Yuta wanting to help Danielson. Marina Shafir jumped in the ring, keeping the referee away. They didn't recap it all, and AEW did not share the footage. AEW does not condone such actions, blah, blah, blah. If you saw it, some people might think, well, they went too far. Moxley, when he turned on Danielson, he took a Ziploc bag, a plastic bag, and put it over Danielson's head. Yeah, that's very Terry Funk of them to do that. I couldn't believe that they did that, but then again, I thought, you know what? AEW does pretty much any damn thing on pay-per-views. So, really, that's not much of a shock. Looking back on it, I guess. Now, what's going to be happening? What's going to happen after that? What's going to happen Wednesday night on Dynamite? Is Danielson even going to be there? Or are they going to sell this attack and keep him out? I'm guessing the first to come out on Dynamite needs to be Moxley and his new crew. Needs to be. Will it be? I don't know. Will they just do a backstage interview with Renee where Marina Shafir attacks Renee? I don't know. Would Jon Moxley be cool? Even though it is storyline, would he be cool with standing there and watching his wife get beat by a much stronger person physically. I don't know. We'll see. But anyway, the final match of the night was the lights out steel cage match. Hangman Adam Page versus Swerve Strickland with Prince Nana. Swerve had a game plan and charge at Page before the cage was lowered. Prince Nana started sliding implements like chains and table into the ring. Swerve cracked Page with the house call kick. Page answered with a German suplex. Page pulled a staple gun out of a toolbox. Yeah, we're getting into ECW and CZW territory with AEW pay-per-views. Swerve stapled Page in the back. Swerve nailed Hangman with a backbreaker. Swerve pulled out photos of his family, stapled the photos to the chest of Hangman Page. Swerve stapled another family photo to Page's face. Swerve used the cage as a weapon, grabbing Page from the top turnbuckle and then throwing Hangman into the fencing. Page pulled Swerve's legs and Swerve landed split leg at the top on the top rope. Hangman grabbed barbed wire and wrapped it around his right arm. Clubbed Swerve with a lariat, Hangman's arm wrapped in the wire. Page sent Swerve headfirst into the cage and shouted to the crowd, "That's your man?" Swerve came back with a clothesline. Swerve charged at Page, but Page dodged. Swerve lawn darted Page into a steel chair and was wedged between the turnbuckles. Swerve pulled a cinder block out, placed it on the mat. He planted Page down hard on the cinder block. I'm telling you, man, this was a crazy ass show. But got crazier in the next scene as Hangman got a spike driven into a skull. It was the remains of Hangman's home. Shivani's like, "What's it going to take to win this match?" Page drilled Swerve with a dead eye for the near fall. Page shouts, "I told you to beg for mercy." Swerve's laughing. Swerve stood to his feet and then dropped the boots of Hangman. Hangman pulled the grill out of Swerve's mouth, pulled out a hypodermic needle. Come on, man. Jabbed Swerve in the mouth. Obviously, there was nothing in the needle, but, some people probably didn't know that. Hangman knocked out Swerve with a steel chair shot, the ref immediately calling for the bell. Mercifully, this match has stopped. Excalibur says Hangman has measure of revenge, but at what cost? What's going to happen on Dynamite from Rupp Arena in Lexington this Wednesday? Who knows? I will end with some NASCAR. As of Atlanta, we had Kyle Larson, Christopher Bell, Tyler Reddick, William Byron, Ryan Blaney, Denny Hamlin, Chase Elliott, Brad Keselowski, Logano, Cindric, Suarez, Bowman, Briscoe, Burton, Gibbs, and Martin Truex Jr. They were the 16. Joey Logano won the race and moves on to the next round, which includes Kansas, Talladega, and the Charlotte Roval. So, what is going to happen this weekend when NASCAR heads to where are they head next? Let's look at the okay, so the next race, thanks for not telling us, NASCAR.com. Appreciate that. Anyway, that is your Atlanta playoff opener with Joey Logano. Your results: Joey Logano first, Daniel Suarez second, Ryan Blaney third, Christopher Bell fourth, Alex Bowman fifth, Tyler Reddick sixth, Kyle Busch seventh, Chase Elliott eighth, William Byron ninth, Austin Cindric in 10th, Hemrick 11th, Justin Haley 12th, Ross Chastain 13th, 14th Ricky Stenhouse, 15th Corey LaJoie, 16th Carson Hocevar, 17th Ty Gibbs, 18th Ryan Preece, 19th Brad Keselowski, and rounding out the top 20 is Austin Dillon. Well, that is it for this week. September 9th, 2024. I hope you guys have a great week, and I'll catch you next week. Be kind, be cool, be courageous, and peace out.